cringe होता जा रहा
So this was
fire. No, absolutely not. We don't.
So is there like an actual war between both of them, or is just like poor planning?
I'm trying to figure that out myself, to be honest.
And does it happen often?
The war is minimal, obviously.
So let's talk about myths and reality.
Both of these are at war. My team members who are watching this, they'll probably laugh at as well. I wouldn't say no war, but less war.
Welcome back to another episode of Devomech Podcast. By the way, I'm being forced to do this. So we have with us one of the senior project managers here at Devomech Solutions. He has a very vast experience in project management, which includes IoT-based projects. We have with us Savez Amir. How are you today?
I'm good, Javeria. Thank you for having me.
How many projects are you managing right now?
Well, I got 3 more today, so it's around 16, I would say.
All right. So do you know the topic that we are going to talk about today? Any idea?
Me, I guess, project management.
No, we are going to talk about deadlines and the quality that you guys are like. We have to talk about that, the hidden war between the quality and the deadlines.
Okay,
So what are you thinking about it?
Quality and deadline. Obviously, both of these are at war. Because if you want good quality, you need time. You need to spend time on it. But being a project manager, having a balance between these, that's the most important thing. And for that, obviously, we have to coordinate with our engineers, with all the team, and make sure we don't go at war. But yeah, it is a really important topic.
Yes. So be honest. I'm going to ask you a question. Deadlines or quality? What is there something you prioritize over both of these?
It depends on the project.
Yeah.
Sometimes the client wants to stick to a deadline, but obviously being at Devomech, we prioritize quality. So we try to find a middle ground, whichever suits best, and have a discussion with the engineers and with the team leads, with the CTO. Priority is having the best quality in the least amount possible time.
So what happens if the deadline is reaching and like, do you have to compromise over the quality?
No, absolutely not. We don't compromise on quality. We talk to the client, have a discussion with them, give them all the what's happening in the project, and tell them that this is how we want to go about this project. We don't want to compromise on the quality, obviously, and for that we might have to extend the deadline. Usually, obviously, clients prefer to have a better quality product than a rushed one.
Yeah, all right. So let's understand the conflict between the deadlines and the quality. So why do deadlines and the quality often clash in technical projects? What do you think about it?
Because these are basically the main 2 factors that are that come in discussion. Again, as I said, if you want a good quality product, you need to spend time on it. But then again, there is another factor, which is the quality of the engineer. If the engineer is good, if he has experience, he will do least amount of mistakes, which will obviously decrease the amount of time that is spent. So yeah, if you have a good engineer, a good team that is working with him, we can have the best quality and the least amount of time.
All right. So is there like an actual war between both of them, or is just like poor planning?
I wouldn't say it's a war. Planning is a big factor. If the planning is good, the war is minimal, obviously. So that's where the project manager comes in as well. And a project manager, I wouldn't say he's a one-man army. He is the facilitator there. And when a project is initiated, he sits with the team members, with the stakeholders, and he makes this plan. And if the plan is impeccable, obviously, there is least resistance. So there is no, well, I wouldn't say no war, but less war,
Alright.
Manageable war.
Okay. So as you are a project manager, so I really want to like understand your perspective over it. So why are like sometimes deadlines non-negotiable with the clients, or being in a team where you're working with different projects?
When they are non-negotiable, again, depends on the priority of the client. Sometimes, like for example, we had a project in which a client had to sell his product on Christmas Day. So that deadline is non-negotiable. So for that, since they wanted a quality product, but they had that selling deadline. So we had to prioritize our timelines according to that deadline. So that deadline was non-negotiable. That's if that happens, obviously we guide the team to work accordingly, and even if we have to add extra team members, extra workforce for that project, we do that. So that's like I wouldn't say a rare scenario, but that's like one of the scenarios when we have a non-negotiable.
And does it happen often?
Well, the projects that are close to these hot deadlines, I would say, like Christmas deadlines or Easter, when projects are close to Easter, then we have them, but not quite often, no. Because obviously the client wants a good quality product than a rushed one, as I said.
All right. And what kind of pressure comes from the team or from the management here at Devomech Solutions?
I wouldn't say too much pressure because we are directly involved with the clients ourselves. So since you're talking to the client yourself, you are responsible for them, and you have built a connection with the client yourself. So the CTOs or the higher ups, they don't pressurize us as such. They don't need to be honest, because we are engaged with the clients ourselves. And we know their story, we know what the product they are trying to make. So we consider this project, the product they're building, as our own project, as our own product. So we take the pressure upon ourselves. So that's that.
Okay, so how do you decide like which quality or like the deadline needs to be compromised? How do you decide on that? Being a senior project manager here, what are the factors you decide that on?
Again, as project managers, we don't make decisions by ourselves. We involve the stakeholders. It depends on them, depends on what we had decided in the initial charter. If the priority was on delivering a set product, a set milestone by a set date, then that is the priority. If the priority was having this feature by the end of this time, or having a great product, so the priority is that. So it depends on the stakeholders. Whatever change we are going to make, we are going to have a discussion with the stakeholders first and go about there.
All right.
So it's going to depend on the project, on that specific situation.
All right. So as being a project manager, you're dealing with different engineers and developers on a daily basis. So when was the last time you had a conflict with a team lead related to a project?
I wouldn't say it's a conflict. It's more of a discussion, because obviously both of us want the betterment of the project. It happens on a daily basis, and it's mostly on deadline issues as well. They want to have a better quality, and for that they need time. Sometimes they have issues with their team members as well, and what we want is what the client wants. So we want to keep that as a priority. Obviously, when these two things clash, we do have an argument. So this is a constant recurring, but it is again for the betterment of the project.
All right. So why do you think developers don't understand about the deadlines and the quality? They do prefer like quality over the deadlines, but what is your thought about it?
I'm trying to figure that out myself, to be honest. Obviously, they have a set plan in their mind, and they have to manage their team members. And when we come in and we say that this is the deadline, and you have to deliver in this time, it conflicts with their plans. That's why they don't understand as such. I'm not going to say they don't understand it exactly. It's just that they have different priorities. And when we sit together, obviously, we discuss those priorities and come up with a solution that is in between.
Yeah. All right. So let's discuss a real life scenario. So can you like describe a project where the deadline was tight and the quality was at stake?
Yeah, there was a project in which we had to deliver a AI-based teddy bear for a client. My team members who are watching this, they'll probably laugh at as well. For that, we had a deadline, a Christmas deadline, and that was a really tight deadline. And that product had some unforeseen circumstances in which we had a delay in the delivery of the PCBs. And that's why, because of that, the whole timeline had to be shifted. But we had to rush because we had an unnegotiable deadline in front of us. So for that, we had loads of, I would say, discussions with our team members that how we can rush it, or how we can keep the quality the same and make it faster. So that was one project that I remember. And these kind of projects, they come up, as I said, around November, December time, when we have some these Christmas holidays or these kind of festive holidays. So that was one of the project. It's completed now. We've delivered it to the client, but yeah.
So what kind of decisions you made as a project manager under those circumstances?
The first and foremost decision that we have to make is swift communication, because no matter what happens, you have to communicate with the client, tell them each and everything, and document it. Once that's done, you sit the stakeholders together, you have a discussion, and you make a plan together. So that's the main job of the project manager. They have to make informed decisions and keep everyone in the loop. Yeah.
So looking back at that time, would you do anything differently?
Everything did go smoothly, like considering the circumstances, but I would say that we should have incorporated the time delay that was gonna come from the manufacturers. We have to keep a buffer for the Chinese manufacturers, because obviously they have an influx of orders and that can take time. Sometimes deliveries take a lot of time as well, because delivering from a different country to your country, then testing it, that takes time as well. So that's, I think, what I would do better next time, that I would keep a decent amount of buffer. Yeah.
So do you have any advice for the people who are watching if they face any kind of situation like this?
Again, I would say communicate. As a project manager, make sure that you communicate and document everything, and you should have proof of each and every meeting that you make, and each and every decision that you make, that should be backed with logic and with research. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about myths and reality. Does faster delivery make the quality lower? Is that true?
Yes and no, because delivery can affect the quality only if the engineer cannot handle the pressure.
All
If the engineer is good, he knows what he's doing, he has worked on a similar project, then obviously he can work on a faster pace. So basically, as a project manager, you need to assess the strengths and weaknesses of your team. If your team has experience, then you can obviously push them around and take and go beyond their limits, and then you can achieve a better, faster timeline. Yeah.
So does good planning solve everything, and are you a good planner?
I'll have to ask my clients about that. But yeah, planning is the core. If you have a good plan and you have figured everything out, obviously you can't figure everything out, but you have the gist of it, you know the eagle's eye view, then a lot of roadblocks that come along the project, you can identify them early and then have a plan for them. So yeah, good planning does affect the quality of the work and does affect the timeline of the work, and it does produce a better result, I would say.
Thank you for coming over the podcast, Savez. Amir, is there anything you would like to say to the project managers?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. For the project managers out there, I would say keep a strong communication with the clients, with the team. Keep prioritizing your tasks. Have good control over the softwares that are out there, and just have fun. Yeah, enjoy.
So this was Savez Amir with us today on the podcast of Devomech, one of the finest project managers here. Am I right?
Thank you.
So yes, we'll get back to you on the next episode of Devomech Podcast.